Hey, I hope you're doing good. In the last video, we talked about a pair of straight lines and we derived a general formula for the angle between a pair of straight lines. So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about the questions and the problems typically that you would expect in your exams on this subject. Okay, so first of all, let me write that formula that we derived because we are going to be referring to this formula quite a lot. Okay. So it was theta is equal to 2 times, sorry, there's a tan inverse, and then inside of that tan inverse we have 2 times square root of h square minus ab, and in the denominator we have a plus b. So you should definitely memorize this formula. It's a very important formula. Okay, so let's look at the first problem. So we are given with the equation, uh, let me write it down here, x square minus 5xy plus 4y square is equal to 0. So this is the equation, and we are asked to figure out what curve or curves does this equation represent. Now there are two ways you can solve this problem, or you can tackle this problem. One way is to just uh, memorize this general form of the equation of a pair of straight line, which is ax square plus by square, and then in the middle there's a term 2hxy. Now you can just compare these two equations, and you can clearly see that this is a specific case of this general equation. So what that means is that this equation represents a pair of straight lines. So that's one way to do this problem. Another way, a more general way, is to just factorize this the way you would for a quadratic equation. So let's break this 5xy term into x square minus so it's going to be minus 4xy and minus xy plus 4y square is equal to 0, right? And then just take the x common from these two terms. So let's do that. It's going to be x minus 4y, and then let's take y common from these two terms, so these two terms. So it's going to be plus y, uh, 4 minus x, right, is equal to 0. Let me move this page to the bottom. Okay, now let's see what we can do here. So we have y, this is going to be equal to 4y, actually 4y minus x. So let's see. So if we take minus common here, it's going to be equal to minus x plus 4y, which becomes the same as this. So we can definitely take 4y minus x common from these two terms, and we are left with y minus x is equal to 0. So now hopefully this makes sense, that this definitely represents a pair of straight lines, and the reason is because if this multiplication of two terms is equal to 0, what we can conclude from that is that the individual terms are equal to 0. And if individual terms are equal to 0, what that means is that 4y minus x is equal to 0 and y minus x is equal to 0. So what that basically means is that it represents a pair of straight lines where L1, let's say, is equal to 4y minus x is equal to 0, and L2 is equal to y minus x is equal to 0. So you can clearly see that this equation represents a pair of straight lines. Hopefully that made sense. So let's move to the second problem. I want to move to the second problem. Okay, let me write it down here. So we have to calculate the angle between the pair of straight lines. Let me write it down here. X square plus 4y square, and then we have minus 7xy is equal to 0. So first of all, just look at this pattern. This definitely represents a pair of straight lines, and I want to write the general form of pair of straight lines so that we can see the pattern. So ax square plus 2hxy plus by square is equal to 0. And let me write the formula for calculating the angle, because we are going to be using that in this problem. So it's going to be equal to theta is equal to the inverse tangent of 2 square root of h square minus ab divided by a plus b, right? Now let's figure out what the constants are, what a is, what b is, and what h is. So let's compare these two equations. So first of all, let's divide this equation. Let's say this is equation 2, this is equation 1. Let's divide equation 2 by a on both sides. So this is going to be equal to 1 2hxy divided by a, b by a y square, and 0 divided by anything is just 0. So now we can compare these two equations. So if you look at it, the coefficients of x square in both these equations are just 1, but the coefficients of y square are different, so we can definitely equate them. So b divided by a is equal to 4, right? And we also have the coefficients of xy term, so they are also going to be equal to 0. So minus 7 is equal to 2h divided by a, right? Now we have how many variables? 1, 2 and 3. So we have 3 variables. We need one more equation. So let's see if we can do that. H square minus ab, and actually we cannot do that. So let's just solve one variable in terms of the other. So it's going to be equal to b is equal to 4a, and then we have 2h is equal to minus 7a. So h is equal to minus 7a divided by 2. So everything is in terms of a, right? All right. Okay. Now let's plug these values into this equation. We'll see what we get. Theta is equal to tan inverse of 2 under root of h square, which is 49a square divided by 4, right, minus a times b. So a is just a and b is 4a, so it's going to be that divided by a plus b, which is a plus 4a. Now this is going to be equal to tan inverse of 2 square root of let's see, we can take the denominator as 4, so it's going to be equal to 49a square minus 16a square, and then we can just take out 4 out of the radical sign, so it's going to be equal to 2, and then in the denominator we have 5a. We can also take out a square out, so it's going to be equal to a. We can just ignore that. And 49 minus 16 is, let's see, this is 7, and this is, no, this is actually 3, and this is 33. So it's 33. So it's equal to tan inverse of a square root of 33 divided by 5a. Well, we just saw that the constant terms just got cancelled, so we are just left with an answer which is just a constant term. So we just got our answer, which is equal to theta is equal to the inverse tangent of square root of 33 divided by 5. So first of all, you might be wondering, like, we had 3 unknowns and we just had 2 equations, but we just solved for one unknown in terms of the other. So we just solved everything in terms of a, and then finally we had the numerator and we had the denominator in which both of the a terms got cancelled, and we just are left with a constant answer. So this is the answer to this problem. Hopefully that made sense to you. So I'm going to talk about more questions in the next video, I guess. So thanks for watching, and if you have any queries, please leave a comment below.